Good morning. Happy May 1st and happy Sunday. Today I am drinking my Earl Grey. It's with almond milk and monk fruit sugar. For those of you who are not familiar with monk fruit sugar, it is a very low glycemic, even lower than honey. And I'm trying it for the first time, and it doesn't change the taste of the tea as much as stevia, and it's much healthier than sugar. So I think monk fruit is a really great alternative, and I'm really enjoying it in my Earl Grey tea. Mm. If you've woken up this morning and you feel a bit of a dull headache, I wanted to do a quick 5-minute guasha routine. So this is my guasha pouch, and I have a stone that looks like this, but you can actually do this routine if you want to follow along using a spoon. This is just a regular spoon, nothing special. And because it's cool to the touch, you'll get the same effects as a guasha stone, which is made out of jade. You could also use your knuckles. And so the first thing that I did in the morning, I just splashed some water on my face and I put on some essence and serum. Other than that, I have with me some essential oils, which are beautiful in waking myself up and clearing some of that dull headache that kind of sits at the back of the head. So this will be a very quick 5-minute routine. And then afterwards, we'll talk about a Korean drama. I love essential oils. One of my favorites is a roll on. And I never knew the convenience of a roll on until I started using one. So here I'll just put it in the back of my ears, down all along my neck. And we're going to focus especially on drainage because a lot of the headaches are like stagnant energy. It's really great to just do this first thing in the morning. I find that you get the lifting effect as well. I'm putting it on the pressure areas where I feel that a lot of the pain resides. Sometimes when you don't get a good sleep, at least for me, when I don't get a good sleep, or the temperature is changing. So yesterday it was really nice and sunny. Today it's a bit foggy and there's rain on the forecast in Toronto. So that's usually the source of my headaches is the pressure and lifestyle. So if you're like me, you might get a lot of this guasha massage. I'm going to use a spoon for simplicity, and also I feel that this is something that everyone can do. So the first thing that I want to focus on is the neck area. So just using the rounded edge of the spoon, I want to move the energy downwards. This is really therapeutic because the under the armpits here is where we want to move the toxins because that is the garbage can of our body. So by doing this about 10 times, nothing too intensive, for me, I could feel sort of the drainage happening, and the neck is where I hold a lot of tension. So this is going to help, especially if I'm sitting at the desk all the time. Being Sunday, I'd like to reset my body so that I'm ready for work on Monday morning. And this is something that I've gotten used to doing almost every day because it is really therapeutic and you will see some really great results, not just for muscle tension, but also for the skin because it promotes circulation. So then after that, I want to move the energy downwards. Sometimes I like to use the sharper edge of the spoon because you can get a lot of the same scraping qualities as from a smooth edge of the stone. So just move it towards heart center. Same with this side. A good number of counts for me is about 5 to 10 times. And then here, I'm going to work on my chin. So this is a movement that promotes tightness. It also takes care of the loose skin. So I do this for about 20 to 30 seconds. And then getting that strong jawline is something that's very desirable aesthetically amongst Koreans. Okay. And then I continue to do this along the jawline as well. So this particular movement of back and forth is only used in the jawline for me because all the other areas, like around the eyes, you never want to do this kind of rigorous motion. But around the jawline is fine because I think this is where some of the tension sits. I have Invisalign, and some people who are tend to be grinders while they're sleeping find that their jaw is just clenched all the time. So this is a really good exercise to loosen up the jaw, remove the muscle tension, which can also contribute to headaches in the morning. Here, it's naturally sculpting, and the spoon is actually really great to use. Sometimes the guasha stone for beginners, it's really hard because you're not really used to the grip. But with a spoon, it's something that you naturally use as part of your life. So, yes, I will definitely get to laugh lines. Hi, Momo. Good to see you. If you're only 23, laugh lines are actually a beautiful part of the facial structure. In some cultures, it's actually desirable because it shows that you have a lot of contentment in your life. But I understand for aesthetic purposes, you want to get that lift. And so that lift, you want to focus on it from this part of the face. So by focusing on massaging the cheeks, you can naturally lift it, and then some of the creasing here will go away. So once we finish the jaw, we also want to scrape downwards to make sure that all that loosened up toxins and uh, whatever else was sitting there gets brushed down towards heart center, eventually towards the armpit. If you're following along, you may realize that this is so much easier and it's not intimidating at all. Once you start seeing some really good results, it becomes addictive because it's so easy, it's very quick, and it can actually prevent you from contemplating surgery or any other invasive procedures later on. Now I'm going to move to the cheek area. And so this is going to help with lifting, strengthening, and you can actually reshape the muscles. So I'm going to put a little bit more oil on because we don't want to be tugging. So you could use any kind of oil. Sometimes I use makeup remover oil or cleansing balms, and that works really well too because the ones that contain essential oils and really good nutrients like coconut oil based, they will really benefit the skin as well. The neck, I know it's really essential that we get the sides of the neck. So that's important for drainage, but also for aesthetics. The lines on the neck, they are really hard to erase because I have some as well. You're actually not supposed to do guasha on the thyroid area because this is a really sensitive area of the neck. So I actually don't touch this part of the neck. What I do for necklines is I just apply a lot of intensive cream, and I make sure that I cleanse it as well. Also, posture is really important because a lot of the times when you have your phone, you kind of tend to do this, and then you could see the creases just naturally appearing. So when that becomes a habit, those creases will actually become deeper rather than going away. So a lot of the times I try to kind of position my phone in a upright and make sure to tilt my neck. Other times I kind of just avoid the phone and try to do as much as I can on my computer because you can really adjust your posture a lot better. Whereas when you're reclining on your chair and you're kind of doing this, it may be relaxing and comfortable, but ultimately it just reinforces some of the facial structures that you're trying to um, remediate. So it negates all the work that we're doing. I know the neck is especially very challenging to reverse. So especially if you're in your 20s, like our friend Momo, you're fortunate because you can do a lot of preventative work. So even just kind of like natural, just using your hands to do this, and then working your way upwards. Because it's so delicate here, you don't want to be scraping this area. In fact, you want to work around it by doing the sides here. And then also this area, if you're tightening here, it could actually help with the sagginess here. So you want to kind of think about the architecture of our body, which is so amazing, and then just naturally spread the shoulders apart so that nothing gets scrunched up here. Yes. The lines on our face and our neck, sometimes it's unavoidable because gravity does its part and naturally with age we lose elastin and collagen. So that's why supplements are really key as well as maintaining good skin habits, not just layering products, but also the motions that we use to layer products. And when washing our face, like vigorous scrubbing like this is really discouraged because all of that adds up. And eventually, over a span of lifetime, even changes like this, you can notice within a couple months certain things improving. So the lines will be reduced. I mean, I do have a prominent one, and that one's really difficult. And I know that that's hereditary. So I just do my best to work around it. So certain motions, especially watching Korean dramas. Korean dramas are great because you're sitting there for an hour and 20 minutes. These episodes, they tend to be longer. So minimum an hour gives you enough time to kind of just do certain things like a spoon or a guasha massage, and this will only take 5 minutes. So here, as you're watching the Korean dramas, you can kind of take care of yourself at the same time, just mindless. So the thoughts that you are thinking about as you are doing this massage is upwards and very, very light pressure. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure, just enough so that you get under the skin layer. And then that's where the oils come in handy because you want the spoon to just be gliding across the skin like this. So lift, and then at the top, you do a wiggle, and that helps with loosening up a lot of the tension. It also helps to drive the toxins into that area where we drive it down again. And then the same thing on this side. By holding the nose, you're probably wondering why you're holding the nose, is to create some of that contra energy to make sure that the skin is actually becoming tighter. So by gliding across the laugh lines, you're actually encouraging the lift, and you can actually feel this as you are doing it. It's almost instant gratification because the muscles are being strengthened even with one session. So there, that's how I would do it. So with the stone, because you have these ridges, it actually makes it a lot easier, but you're getting the same motion and encouraging the same muscle movement with the spoon. And then you also want to continue to focus on lift. See, when you do this, it kind of tightens the area of the skin too. So then when it comes to the eyes, I switch around and then I kind of make sure that I'm hitting the under eye area. If you have dark circles, it promotes circulation to make sure that the blood flow is uniform. And then it can actually help diminish a lot of the dark circles and the puffiness that happens. So that's how I would use the stone. With this, I kind of use the smaller area because the eye area is very particular. So you want to make sure that you have good coverage, but at the same time, this can be too clumsy. And then it's a bit too sharp too. So by using the edge here, and it's the same motion. I think once you get the hang of it, you become a lot more creative and you know how to maneuver. Sure, I'll talk about cleaning at the end. I'm quite meticulous with cleaning my tools, and especially with oils. You don't want to be reusing the oils on your face over and over again because you want to start with a clean slate. Thanks for the likes, everyone. I think this is something that's really easy, and you get a lot of benefit just by doing this. You don't need to use expensive tools, but if you like that kind of stuff, by all means, if it brings you joy, why not? So the next move is one of my particular favorites because it is instant results. And this helps promote the eye lift. So this area here is directly contributed to my headaches. I find that a lot of the eye pain here, it's very concentrated. So what I do is I just lightly do a rocking motion, mostly upwards. And gosh, this is, I can almost feel my sinuses clearing up, and it's just a wonderful spot. It's very sensitive. So you only want to do it like maybe 5 times, max 8 times. So by doing this, I can feel things just that was very clogged up here getting unclogged, and it's refreshing. And if you also breathe in the essential oils, that's also part of therapy too. Wow, I feel like you can see the eyebrow lift and the eyes have awakened. So this is wonderful to do in the morning. And then at this point, I just want to move all of the pent up toxins downwards. Spoon is a really great tool. In the same way, you want to be sure to utilize the edges that make sense. There's no rules. It's just the important thing is that drainage occurs in the neck. You move it downwards towards heart center, and then it'll go towards the armpit, which is responsible for flushing out toxins. And then for certain areas, like the cheek is the biggest surface area, so that's where you want to use this. And the eyes, because it's more gentle, you want to use a smaller surface. For frown lines, you make a peace sign, you spread apart the eyebrows, and then you can either do this to smooth it up with a wiggle at the top of the forehead, or we can do what's called a crosshatch. So by going in both directions, if you have two frown lines, those are called 11s. That's an indicator that there's some digestive, possibly some digestive issues, especially lines around the mouth as well, are indicators of like liver and spleen. But the 11s are also from frowning or squinting in the sun. Now that the sun is coming out, we want to pay particular attention to those types of movements. And then by doing a crosshatch using the edge of the spoon, you could really start to soften some of those lines. My friends, they've treated their 11s. I'm not really seeing any of those in my forehead, but if you do have prominent forehead lines, the key movement is to just move everything upwards, and then right where the hairline is, do a wiggle. This will also help with headaches as well. Then for the broader part of the forehead, I did apply some oil. So then I would just use the rounded part of the spoon, so where it's kind of the edge, and then just move it upwards. Now, if you have acne along the forehead, just be careful because when you glide across an open area, it can actually um, pop that area, and that's something that you don't want to do. So just be extra gentle and probably do like a superficial touch, like very, very light. But you can still do this with acne. I find, in fact, because those areas are being stimulated and you're promoting circulation, it can actually help with flushing out those toxins that are responsible for acne. So you'll get a glow, you'll get a nice flush, which helps towards applying makeup. At the end, what I do is I kind of make sure that the utensils are cleaned after every use. And that can be part of the 5 minutes as well. So when you clean after each use, what I do is I just treat them like my regular beauty tools. So with makeup brushes, I use um, the double cleanse. So I use an oil cleanse. And I did a video on this a couple of Sundays ago about how I do the same thing on my face. I treat my brushes and my tools the same way. So for this, I would apply like a cleansing oil, and then I would wash it in natural soap or cleansing foam. And because cleansing foams are very inexpensive, you can use it on your tools as well. So if it's safe for your face, it's safe for your tools. And then I like to leave it out in the sun. So the sun is a natural disinfectant, and then we can, pick it up and it becomes nice and clean. And then I put it back in the fridge because when it's cold, it's extra therapeutic. So I hope that that's helped. It certainly helped loosen up some of the areas where I did feel like it was really tense, and I feel much better. So just going to take a second to read some of your comments. Yes, so we went through the cleaning of the jade face equipment. So a little bit of cleansing oil and cleansing foam will do the trick, leaving it out in the sun to disinfect. Video for dark circles. Yes, certainly. I think dark circles are pretty much everyone's concern in their 20s, 30s, 40s. What I will say is there's no magical skincare product that I've found, at least, to get rid of dark circles. A good concealer is a tool, but you want to get it at the root of the problem. So I'll talk more about dark circles and what I do to treat mine, other than makeup. For the drama, I found that, yeah, I know the veins are a huge problem, and it's great that you don't use makeup to cover up. And we'll get to the root of the problem of dark circles. More oftentimes, it's sleep. So, sleep is the easiest and cheapest remedy. If you enjoy sleep, then that's good news. I love sleep, and I found that that was the quickest way. Um, I love multitasking with dramas. Sometimes you just want to chill out and sit back and relax, and that's great too. I do that a lot, but oftentimes I do maybe a sheet mask or guasha is a really good way to multitask, and then you can do it for 5 minutes and then focus on the drama for the rest of the time. Yeah. A lot of the actresses, yes, thanks for bringing it up. A lot of the actresses, now I can see them endorsing beauty tools as part of their character in dramas. So I can see a lot of the clearing brushes, so those makeup brushes that rotate and help you cleanse your face. I did see the guasha stone being used by one of the actresses in a drama, and then also just really simple things like mists. We saw that in Business Proposal, the vitamin C mist. And then what else? There's so many beauty tools that are being advertised by very prominent actresses. So then that makes you kind of think, oh, they're using it and they're looking so great. Maybe I should give it a try. There are, hacks like the spoon that will help you get into it. It's almost like no excuses. You have access to whatever it is that you need to help you get the look that you desire. Okay. Anyone watch My Name? I surprisingly loved this drama. Now, it's not your typical romance feel good, but it's a feel good in a different way. It's a revenge story, it's an action thriller. And I was really surprised to see that Rotten Tomatoes had rated it 100%. Now, I know there's a lot of consideration that goes behind Rotten Tomatoes ratings, but it was a combination of critics as well as ordinary people like you and I. And there were just so many comments on Rotten Tomatoes about how the acting was just phenomenal. And I completely agree. I think Han So-hee, who played the main character, Chu, was a complete transformation. The only other drama that I saw her in before this was World of Married, and I thought she played a really great character. And when I found out her age and how young she was, Momo, I think she's your age. She's in her early 20s. I just found that to be even more impressive on how at that young of an age and at that stage in life, she could convey such mature emotions. In My Name, it was a complete transformation. Physical, so her skin, she just let it go on its own. So no makeup, no frills, It was just her natural sangar, which is the raw face, and even her hair, everything. I'm sure she did take some time to get ready before each shoot, but she just showed herself as she was. The action was just ongoing. It was just very, very riveting and easy to follow, but at the same time, it had a storyline. So I loved how they kept the focus on her, and even with the two male characters. So you have Shimujin, who is the drug lord, who kind of takes her under his wing, and then you have Puto, which is her partner when she disguises herself in the police force. So great acting from all of the characters, and I feel like they did a lot to help support her, and they didn't take over the storyline. There are questions of whether or not there's a romance, and I don't want to give away spoilers, but you kind of have to watch it all the way to the end to get a bit of the underlying romance, which was subtle, but you know that it was there throughout the drama. The ending for me, I found it to be a bit mixed, but overall I was satisfied because of the purpose of the drama, which was for her to really stay loyal to her father. Her values were never compromised. She did come through in the end. So you'll have to definitely watch that because I became such a fan of her character and very, very admirable. One other thing that really stuck in my mind about this drama was the play on emotions. So Chemujin, who's very, very, um, he's a master manipulator. He really knew how to pull her strings um, to really gain that trust. And then at the end, it was even more so where he kind of rocked the boat a bit to awaken some of those um, revengeful emotions that she tried to suppress. So I think from a psychology perspective, I'm not an expert, but I was able to follow along and really get those subtle nuances that, there's more to it than face value. Yes, there's a villain, there's the good character trying to do justice, there's that storyline. And there are a lot of gangster movies out there. I just felt that this had a special twist because it was a female lead and so much power to her. I really felt all the emotions as she was going through the specific events that were so pivotal towards her journey. And in the end, I was really satisfied. Well, let me know what your thoughts were, if you liked it. I will say that it's not for people who are really sensitive to action scenes. So there are a lot of knife fights that can get quite brutal. There's also use of guns. So I wouldn't keep this on when there are kids in the room. It is definitely action packed. So it's like one fight scene to a next. And, um, no sort of what do you call it? I know what it is in Korean, but even though it's a very considerate society, in this particular drama, you don't segregate the female, you don't take pity on her. And she certainly did not fall into a victim mentality where she felt sorry for herself. So they fought her like a group of 10, 15 men fought her as if they were fighting man to man. So, just keep that in mind that the fight scenes are really raw and it can be hard to watch it sometimes. So you might tend to look away. But, even with that, I really think that you will stick with it till the very end. So that's been my Sunday recap. Great drama, great massage, feeling really good about starting the rest of the day. And I hope that all of you, uh, especially those in different time zones, you are probably winding down. So give this massage a try just before bed because it does have a relaxing component. But sometimes, depending on the oils that you are using, it can be used to awaken and revitalize if you want to do it in the mornings. Until next Sunday, take good care. I will keep all your comments in mind, do a future video on dark circles, and then come back with a lot more quick and easy Korean skincare tips to help you throughout your day. Take care. Looking forward to next week. Bye.